Welcome to a live Q&A. It is Casey Polite, and I'm going live every day the month of November. And conversations about sex, pleasure, and intimacy. Hey, welcome back. I love seeing some of my favorite folks coming into the room tonight. So we're gonna jump into it. Thank you for being here and checking out my content. And I want to bring some people into the room.
Do you have a question or topic that we can throw around, put you in the hot seat for a moment? What you got?
I want to talk about what we were talking about last time, actually.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah. We were basically talking about you were speaking on, I was speaking on the laziness, and you were like, "Oh, I don't necessarily think
Yes,
it's laziness."
yes, yes.
So from my perspective, when you give someone instructions
Mm-hmm.
on how to please you, they don't please you. Um
Oh, yes. Okay,
and they
maybe I
don't
misunderstood what you were saying.
Yeah. When you
Okay,
give someone instructions on
yes.
how to please you and you're waiting on them to do the work, to feel comfortable, to blah, 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 and it happens time and time and time and time again,
Mm.
then you end up in like a conundrum, a bit of a
Yes,
conundrum,
you do.
whereas, you're showing people how to please you, but like,
One of the challenges I think people have is sexual confidence. And so, though you may share what they could do to please you, they hear it, but the idea of applying it is a completely different thing.
mhm,
And it's not that they don't want to. I would argue that they probably do want to, but not being vulnerable with you to be able to say, this is my challenge with doing it. This is where I'm feeling insecure. Or maybe you ask for something and they're like, I really don't know how to do that. Or for them, there's shame associated with it, particularly with women, right? And so
okay.
if you specify something, and you're like, yeah, if you do my balls this way, and then you hold my penis this way, and then you lick my ass this way, and they're like, whoa, like,
Yo, that
first
third
of
one,
all,
that third one is very important, but
what about that
we got to
third one?
speak to the elephant in the room. Um, that third one, I think, in the Black community is not well accepted.
100%.
It's not well
Yes.
accepted at all.
100%. Yes.
And I've
Any type of we'll just say peach play so that this live doesn't get cut off. Um yes, I totally agree, and again, there's stigmas associated with anyone who would be interested in any kind of peach play,
right.
what that means about your sexuality, which is false. There's, people have concerns about hygiene, which I completely understand, and obviously that's a conversation, right?
Hmm.
But people need to talk about their comfort levels, but not just their comfort levels, it's also around like their beliefs about it, right? Because those are things that you can clear up if you have an opportunity to talk about it. And great question that just came up in the room. What if you don't want to? Yes. And you might not want to. And that's okay too, right? Like,
Right.
but again, you don't want to give someone the false impression that, listen, if you just tell me what pleases you, I'll do it. But then there's no follow up conversation about, again, insecurities or your boundaries or any of those kinds of things. And then that leaves the other person thinking, similar to what you said, like, so you just don't want to? Like, what's the problem?
Right. I think what happens a lot of the time, um, people get lost in people get caught up in their own disconnection with self.
Mm-hmm.
And because you said specifically, yesterday, you said, a lot of the times women associate sex with their ability to please their partners.
Right.
But in the surveys that I've taken online, I have a Twitter, like a
Mm-hmm.
very naughty Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll post things where I'll do like polls. I'll do actual polls,
Yeah.
and thousands of people will vote. And
Okay.
a lot of the times, guys are not satisfied. Like, guys are not satisfied as much as you
Good
think
point.
we are. Just because a
Yes.
guy comes or acts like he comes, because there are guys that fake it.
Very
So
true.
just because a guy comes doesn't mean necessarily he was pleased. He might have just
Yes.
had to get into a headspace, which women do the same thing. They have to get
Absolutely.
into a headspace to even get
Yep.
there. So I
Yes.
think, when you're talking about a person's mindset to please someone, are they
Yeah.
actually pleasing that person, or are they in a headspace of, I should say, selfishness? Like, where they're not
Hmm.
necessarily thinking about necessarily the person that they're pleasing, but thinking about the task, like, I'm just doing it. I'm just doing it. Like,
Yes.
I'm doing it, so it should be good, or it's happening, so the job is done.
Absolutely. No, and I think it comes up for everyone. So whether you have a penis or a vagina, oftentimes people are not satisfied with their experience, but they think that if someone had an orgasm, that means they enjoyed the whole experience, and that an orgasm does not equate to amazing pleasure. It
Right.
just means that the sexual tension was able to build and you had a release.
Right.
Period. Unfortunately, but oftentimes people gauge their experience off of, did you have an orgasm? And
Right.
that should not be the sole indicator of a successful, pleasurable experience.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
No, I'm glad you
Definitely.
bring that up. And so I think that's where you really have to have that open dialogue about what your experience was like without the fear of hurting someone's ego, but really to strengthen the connection and the opportunity for more pleasure.
Talk Black mentioned something. Shout out to her. She's from my city. So,
Mm-hmm. What'd she say?
maturity. She spoke on maturity. She said that comes with a little living and a lot of maturity. I think maturity can be multifaceted when you're talking about personal life maturity, like experience, like living
Mm-hmm.
in this life, um, and sexually intrinsic maturity.
Yeah, two totally
Um,
different things.
two totally different things. And I
Yes.
think a lot of people, just the average person, is not sexually mature. I just, that's my belief.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, and again, it's not our sexual self is not an aspect that we nurture.
Hmm.
Again, we keep it at a very superficial level, right?
Right.
That prevents us from deeply and truly knowing who we are and what we need. Thank you, Wanaki, for the badge. Yes, my co-host is on here tonight. Yeah, so I mean, I think that that's important. So someone said, but how? So how do we fix this problem where you have two people who may not be satisfied, but one or two of the people have an orgasm, but no one is talking about what happened.
How do you get there? I think it's a culmination of two things. I think it's like we were talking about, doing the work,
Yeah. The
finding what,
self work.
right, the self work,
Yes.
finding what pleases you, where you really can express yourself sexually or sensually, and then communicating, being able to. And I think in doing the work yourself, you'll find out how to communicate better with yourself,
Right.
and then that in turn affects how you inflect that communication on other people.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Yeah.
mommy, for the badge.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Yes, good feedback. I think that self-talk and reflection and understanding empowers you to effectively communicate it with someone else. But we
Definitely.
do have to contend with the internal shame,
Right. Right.
right? So, and I think again, I still think it comes up more for folks with a vulva than if you have a penis, but it just
Yeah.
really depends on what the issue is. So I appreciate you jumping on with me tonight.
Oh,
I will definitely check out your page. Thank you for always rocking with me, supporting me,
always,
commenting, jumping into the live.
always.
And I'm really happy to connect with you. And that's, again, one of the reasons I wanted to do this lofty goal of going live every day. I've never done that before for
Yeah,
a
it's a
30-day
big
period, but it's been so much fun. So
right.
we'll continue to connect offline. Thank you so much.
Oh, definitely. I got to get ready to go to work anyway. So
All
you have a
right.
good night.
Peace. All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Let me hold on. Okay, so if you are just joining, you're going to have to check out the replay because we are talking all things sex, pleasure, and intimacy for a Saturday night live. Not going to hold you. Y'all might be out in them streets. You may be trying to get you some tonight. I don't know. So you want to join the live tomorrow because I'm gonna break down the 3 components that you need to have when you're having a debrief conversation about your sexual experiences. So you don't want to miss that. All right, Miss Lioness, let me see what your question is. 52-year-old woman, never married, no sex in the last 4 years. I stay wet and masturbate often. Is that normal? Yes, it is absolutely normal for you to indulge and enjoy self pleasure. You need to. You got to keep the blood flowing. You have to connect to pleasure. You need to give yourself that. That's important. Now, the reason you may not have had sex in the last 4 years, I'm sure, is related to partners. It sounds like you have not been in a place where you have found someone that you want to give the gift of your sensual and sexual self. It's hard out here. But if you do it often and you stay wet, good for you. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Yes, that's perfectly normal. Please do some massaging of the opening of the vagina. This is very important. If you are abstaining by choice or not, and you have a vaginal opening, you may experience some challenges if you decide to have a finger, a tongue, a toy, a penis enter you after a long time, even if you get really wet. So I would encourage, upon your intercourse experience, that you experience some elevated pleasure and or orgasm from clitoral stimulation so that your pelvic muscles can relax. Don't just jump in like, I'm about to get the D and I haven't had it in 4 years. Nope, 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 nope. Don't do it. Don't do it. You likely will tense up. It may cause some vaginal pain and additional tearing. Because no matter what, if you have a vagina and something large enters it, you're going to have small tears. That is normal. You want to make sure you're massaging and stretching the opening of the vagina. Someone's grandfather is going to pay the price. It's all good. It's going to be a wonderful experience. As long as you know that you are in alignment and connected to the person that you decide to share your gift with. But make sure you do a little stretching. Listen, I don't know about you, but you shouldn't be doing a workout until you do some type of stretching. It's the same for a sensual experience, okay?